This is Croatian Radio, the voice of Croatia. Welcome to Croatia Today Late Edition, the voice of Croatia's English language program, available worldwide via satellite, the internet, shortwave radio, and on AM in Croatia. I'm Branko Lozančić, and I'll be your host for the next 15 minutes. In today's show, we'll be hearing from English teacher Marija Horvat, who plans to set off on an adventurous journey to cross the Adriatic in a yacht with her husband Vladimir. Also, we'll be hearing about Croatians participating at the Frankfurt Book Fair, and we'll have a rundown of the week in business. First, the day's news. President Stjepan Mesić said today he expected the report the chief prosecutor with the UN War Crimes Tribunal in The Hague, Carla Del Ponte, was to submit on Monday would be positive for Croatia. He told reporters he expected the report to contain several recommendations, which he added was expected anyway and would not come as a surprise. Asked on the basis of what he expected the report Del Ponte would submit to be positive for Croatia, Mesić answered on the basis of some information. Asked to comment on Slovenia's announcement that it would inform the Luxembourg meeting about Croatia's unacceptable behavior in the border area of Piran Bay in the northern Adriatic, Mesić said, "I think this no longer makes any sense." He reiterated Croatian-Slovene cooperation was good, particularly in the economy, and that solutions to outstanding issues could be found only through open talks. Croatia attracted $548 million in foreign investments in the first half of 2004, according to figures from the Croatian National Bank released last week. The first 6 months of this year saw a fall in direct investments compared to the same period last year, when they totaled about $990 million. The head of the central bank's statistics department, Igor Jemrić, recently explained that this was the result of the fact that reinvested profits had a substantial share in last year's overall foreign investments. In sports, the Croatian national soccer team faced Bulgaria today in a World Cup qualification match that ended in a 2-2 draw. Croatia sits at the top of its qualification group with 2 wins and 1 draw, totaling 7 points. Sweden sits in second and Bulgaria in third. Now Edo Bosnar brings us the weather.
After several days of sunny and pleasant autumn weather, tomorrow it will be cloudier and cooler throughout the country, with some rainfall accompanied by thunder, especially later in the afternoon and in the evening. Only Dalmatia will be spared the overcast skies and precipitation, although only in the morning hours. Winds will be slight to moderate northeastern and eastern in the interior, with mostly moderate southwestern winds blowing on the northern Adriatic area and a balmy Scirocco wind in Dalmatia. Tomorrow morning's temperatures will range from 7 to 12 degrees Celsius inland and from 16 to 20 degrees on the Adriatic coast. Tomorrow's highs will range from 16 to 21 degrees Celsius inland and from 20 to 25 degrees on the coast.
That was Edo Bosnar with the weather. Croatian husband and wife team Marija and Vladimir Horvat from Zagreb are currently preparing for the journey of a lifetime. Namely, they intend to cross the Atlantic Ocean by yacht. In preparation, they sailed across the Mediterranean from the marina in Tisno on the island of Murter. We spoke to Marija, who is an English teacher born in Osijek, and asked her just what would make her and her husband want to go on such a trip.
That was a dream which lasted a long period of time. It lasted about 30 years. And I'm living with my husband. Now it's going to be 35 years. So it was his dream first, and then it became mine.
We wondered what could be seen on such a journey.
In Mediterranean Bay, we saw dolphins, and we were traveling during the night, and that was fantastic. Traveling during the night was really nice, but I was afraid at the beginning. What about night? You see nothing. But it was calm night, and we enjoyed really. And I had enough time to take the camera, and I recorded all. I took the photos. So that was very interesting with the dolphins. It was wonderful.
We wondered what went on during the course of a day on such a journey surrounded only by water.
The whole day long, there is always something going on. There is always somebody who has to be the leader and who has to control the boat, and that was the leader, yes, and has to, each hour he wrote down the position, and because he controlled totally as he could at that time where we are going, because there is, I have got some papers here, a GPS on the boat, then automatic pilot, compass, okay, the radio station, and we were always with the radio station, we were in contact with the other mariners, especially the channel 16 is very important if you need the help. If you don't need the help and you want to ask about the weather forecast or something like that, then you call the channel 68.
Marija kept a diary that she intends to publish.
Well, my diary is kind of a diary which is not very usual. It means that I was talking to dictaphone because it is impossible to write on a boat. And I have got to make cassettes. Whenever it was possible, I went down to the saloon, to the place where there was a dictaphone, and then I switched on and I talked to what is happening, how am I feeling, and so on.
We wondered if successfully crossing the Atlantic would only make the Horvats more ambitious and asked if a journey around the world would come next.
No, I think not around the world. But I think that is that is going to be a realizing of our dreams. Why? Because we crossed now the Mediterranean Sea, and it was very hard, and we hope, because we were talking to Nenad Vlahović, who returned from his sailing around the world. We talked to him, and he told us that Mediterranean Sea is very difficult because there are unusual and strange winds. They appear, you don't want them to come, of course, but they are here and you have to wait, you have to go to marinas, there are places you have to hide. And we think, and we also heard from Mladen Šutej, that traveling down the Atlantic Ocean is something different. You can do lots of things because there are no islands, peninsulas, bays, and so on, and you can do lots of other things.
With so much time to think while on the seas, Marija will definitely find time to enjoy one of her hobbies, poetry. In 1998, Marija published a book of poetry, and she recited one of her poems for us called Dance of Pride.
I'm a song that has never been sung. I'm the dance that has never been danced. That is why I want you to give me a white dress and sleepy viola and a rose and luck which has just woke up, and let me dance with the power of sound, because the moon has just promised to be around.
Marija gathers much strength from seeing her pupils succeed. Being close to retirement, Marija has a message for the young.
To all the people, and especially to the pupils, because I work with pupils, to the children, dream and work hard so that one day you'll be ready to realize your dreams. Because the time is passing very quickly and there is no returning. What is this now and maybe tomorrow, and that is what I followed.
We wish Marija and her husband a safe trip and plenty of wind to fill her sails, so that she may safely return to the Croatian Adriatic, which she describes as the most beautiful of seas with the best facilities she has ever seen in her travels. The city of Frankfurt, Germany is hosting its annual book fair, the largest gathering of publishers in the world. Our reporter Elizabeth Peck brings us more.
Frankfurt is to the publishing industry what Cannes and Venice are to the film industry. The Frankfurt Book Fair is the place where books are introduced, new literary stars discovered, and of course, business deals are made and unmade. This year, 28 Croatian publishers are exhibiting at the fair. We spoke to Irena Horvatić, who is at the Croatian national stand representing Školska knjiga, one of the largest publishing houses in Croatia. Horvatić told us how the opening of the fair was marked at the Croatian stand.
We had the opening ceremony of the Croatian National Stand by introducing the most famous child book writer, Ivana Brlić-Mažuranić, who is also called the Andersen of the Croatian literature. So this was a very nice choice, I think, to start the promotion of Croatian culture and Croatian books in the international context of the Frankfurt Book Fair.
The book fair is a great venue for promoting all aspects of Croatian culture and heritage in an international setting. Horvatić told us that even the visual design of the stand promotes more than just books.
The architects who designed the stand managed to combine very nicely the attraction for tourism and book as one other part of the culture. I think that all the visitors to the Croatian National Stand at the Frankfurt Book Fair will have the chance to get to know more about the Croatian peaks of touristic attraction and about the cultural history and art in Croatia via the media of book.
Recently, concerns were raised that participating in the fair was becoming too expensive for Croatian publishers. Irena Horvatić reflected on this.
We are exhibiting within the national stand, and we do hear complaints from the Croatian organizers, which is the Croatian Chamber of Commerce. The comments that it is getting more and more expensive from year to year, which is reflected in the size of the national stand. This year we have almost 50 square meters less than the year before. Školska knjiga, as one of the publishers exhibiting on the national stand, has the same size of square meters because we can still afford to do it. But it is not promising. It is always risky. You have to invest to be there because you never know what good contacts, business contacts you might miss, but it is not easy to be there also financially and to support your promotion.
Frankfurt Book Fair runs until this Sunday, October the 10th. For the Voice of Croatia, I'm Elizabeth Peck.
With a look at the past week's business developments, here's our own Nevin Ferencic.
Wednesday saw the release of the European Commission's pre-accession strategy for Croatia. According to the document, progress in Croatia's negotiations on full membership in the Union will depend solely on reforms and the fulfillment of international obligations. In the coming 2 years, Croatia will receive funds from 3 pre-accession programs, namely FAR, ISPA and SAPARD, totaling some €245 million for harmonization activities. The National Telecommunications Agency has turned down the request of Match Telecom to accept their bid to become Croatia's third GSM operator. Match Telecom deposited their bid 10 minutes after the concession bidding deadline passed. The group is led by the French Alcatel company and the Croatian national oil company INA. Match Telecom contends the bid was late because of a technical malfunction on the flight to Zagreb. Microsoft will hold a 2-day conference on computer system security next week under the moniker Microsoft Security Days. Lectures will be given by leading Croatian and foreign experts in the field of security and information technology.
The conference is targeted for CIOs, Chief Information Officers, Chief Security Officers, Chief Technology Officers, and of course for the management. The first part of the conference is targeted for the managers, but all system engineers, developers are welcome to join. They will find for sure lots of technical information and technical sessions.
This year's financial turnover in the tourism sector looks to top last year's by some 7 to 10%, says the government. Tourist arrivals are up 5%, while nightings are 2% better. Profits of just over $444 million in the first quarter are 12% up from the same period in 2003. The Croatian Privatization Fund announced a tender for the sale of 2 hotel companies. 90% of stocks in the Živgošća hotel are offered at a price of just over $5 million, while a 74% stake in the Podgora hotel is up for just under $3.4 million. Both hotels come into the sale with debts running over $16 million apiece. Croatian stock exchanges had another good week as both recorded high indexes. Here's Krunoslav Srpak of the Varaždin Exchange.
Increased demand for shares of holding companies, including the SN Holding and Profisio, affected share index of the Varaždin Stock Exchange that grew for 1.9% up to new historical height of 1,121 points. New investment target was Brodo Merkur company for technical goods trading. More than 56% of shareholder capital was sold for 925 kunas per share.
Here's Željko Kardum of the Zagreb Exchange.
Trading rhythm and volumes are high. Crobex, official stock exchange equity index, is at the same levels as it was last week. Most active shares are Adris Group and Podravka, but the biggest surprise of the week are shares of Croatian Tobacco. In just 5 working days, price of these shares rose 45%.
Money markets saw the kuna lose value. The euro sold for almost 7 kuna 60 lipa in interbank trading. The US dollar is also up to 6 kuna 20 lipa. And that wraps up the weekly business report. For the Voice of Croatia, I'm Nevin Ferencic.
That's all for this late edition of Croatia Today. Join us again next time. On behalf of sound technician Dalibor Piskrec and the entire Voice of Croatia team, I'm Branko Lozančić.